Hello mom, I have gone to Jinja with a stranger, but I am scared. When Desire's mom received an unusual message from her daughter, she immediately knew that something was terribly wrong. Her daughter's best Maggie, a student at Nairobi University, Kenya, would receive the same message, and it was then that they knew Mirembe could have been kidnapped and someone was using her phone. Welcome back to Tavern Crime Chronicles. We explore strange, mysterious, chilling, and unsolved cases. If you have the nerve for fascinating stories, this is your channel. Today I will take you to Jinja City, in the eastern region of Uganda, located on the north shore of Lake Victoria. Jinja is home of the source of the Nile, one of the most sought-after tourism sites in the world. In fact, a coronation park marked by a garden was built and a monument erected in honor of the British explorer John Hanning Speke, who is said to have discovered the source of the Nile. With the Nile River in its youthful stage, Owen Falls Dam and Bujagali Dam were built to power the country and its neighbors with electricity. And with tourists flooding the city all year long, Jinja is a busy city growing at a fast rate with a population of 300,000 people. Jinja is also known for sugarcane farming on plantations on 30,000 acres of land and industries also producing sugar on a large scale. It is unfortunate that one of these plantations woke up to a murder scene when a young boy was walking through early in the morning and found a body of a young girl lying lifeless. This is the story of Desire Mirembe. Born on August 4, 1996 to Emmanuel Musok and Cindy Musok, Desire was a bubbly child and a light to the family. She was the second born of two children, and unfortunately their mother would leave for America to search for greener pastures when Desire was just 2 years old. This left them with just their father to raise them, and he says he took care of everything including bathing her. She grew to be responsible and in charge of the home, which included deciding what they would eat and even collecting rent from their tenants. Her brother Damulira Jonathan says she took care of him and was like a mother to him. Desire attained her education in some of the top schools in the country. Kampala Parents School for her primary education, Mount St. Mary's College, Namagunga for her secondary education, and thereafter to Makerere University, where she was pursuing medicine, with a major in speech therapy. Like many girls at university, Desire would find love, but little did she know that this passionate desire that made her heart skip a beat would be the same to make her heart stop. It's of no secret that university students choose to attend Pentecost ministries instead of their traditional churches, and Desire was not any different. She stopped attending Mass at Christ the King Church and instead joined the Pentecostal Church Phaneroo Ministries, where she would meet Mathew Kirabo, the pianist. He was often seen going to visit their home, picking her, and even giving her driving lessons. Their love blossomed and quickly went downhill because, for some reasons unknown, Desire wanted to call it quits, for Kirabo would sense her drifting from his hands. One fateful day, July 10, 2015, Kirabo invited Desire to Café Java's at Oasis Mall in Kampala for a meal so that they could talk about and salvage their rocky relationship. Desire had earlier requested for money from her father so that she could go attend an old girls' meeting. During the meal, she excused herself to go withdraw the money from the Centenary Bank ATM at Garden City. It's possible that the conversation wasn't going as expected, thus Kirabo took the opportunity and drugged her drink. They later drove away in his mother's car towards Jinja, but when they reached Lugatsi he branched off, as the detectives would later discover while tracing their movements. Because he loved her so much and could not stand losing her to another person, or so he said, he slit her throat with a surgical blade and threw her body in a sugarcane plantation. He then used her cell phone to send false text messages to her mother and his best friend Maggie that said she was headed to Jinja with a stranger but was very scared for her life. Kirabo in disguise proceeded to Desire's hostel pretending to be looking for her, and thereafter went to Deliverance Church in Kampala where he had overnight prayers. A possible alibi, he had it all well planned out, or so he thought. In the wee hours of the night on July 10, 2015, Emmanuel, Desire's father, would receive a phone call from the United States of America that deeply disturbed him. His wife, Desire's mother, was perturbed after receiving a weird text from their daughter. He was very angry at how his intelligent daughter could go to Jinja with a stranger and promised to deal with her when he got back home. Mr. Musok had traveled to Frankfurt, Germany, and thereafter to France for business. He was in France when he received the disturbing phone call and immediately called her brother Jonathan to go check at her hostel when her phone couldn't be reached. He could not take things lightly when he heard that Maggie, his daughter's best friend, had received the same message, and she in fact suspected that it was Mathew, her boyfriend, who had sent them and not Desire. When Jonathan could not find her at the hostel and was told she hadn't been seen there since Friday, her father began to panic and called the police, relatives, and his influential friends with political positions to help in the search because his daughter was now a missing person. One unfortunate morning when a boy was walking through the sugarcane plantation in Lagazi, he stumbled upon a shoe. On following the trail, he saw a young girl's body whose throat has been slit open. He immediately called the police, who together with her relatives identified it to be Desire Mirembe, a 19-year-old medical student from Makerere University. Desire's father, while in Frankfurt, would receive the horrible news through a phone call from his wife. He got on the plane almost immediately, and on arriving home, he found the body of his slain daughter, and she would be laid to rest the next day. Investigations started almost immediately, and Kirabo Mathew was arrested in connection to the murder because his phone and Desire's could be traced at the scene of crime. He pleaded not guilty and was granted bail, which angered Desire's relatives and the whole nation that was following the case. The search for justice was not an easy one for Desire's murderer, and they mostly felt that justice delayed is justice denied. However, they did not give up and always showed up in court even when the perpetrator was on the run. Mathew's family, being politically connected and very wealthy, were always so quick to bribe the judges, investigators, and quickly paid their court fines for Mathew's absence. They made sure to play a syndicate and were hell-bent on frustrating the case. Desire's murderer was on the run and continued to enjoy life, completed his university education and graduated as a doctor. He actually surprised the nation when social media was awash with his photos of his secret wedding to a one American citizen, Janice. Family, friends, and relatives, who included Frank Gashumba, an influential businessman, stormed the courthouse and demonstrations were held reading "Justice for Desire Mirembe." On May 30, 2022, Dr. Kirabo was convicted in absentia for murdering Mirembe. He had earlier confessed to having killed Desire, took the police to the murder scene, and even demonstrated how he had carried out the act. And because he was a medical student, a surgical blade was a tool he was used to, and how ironic that he had to use it on the person he claimed to love. His confession was put on tape and was a key cog in his conviction. It would be used in court when he started recanting his statement to plead not guilty. September 13, 2023, the long-awaited day had finally come. Mathew Kirabo was arrested in Nairobi, where he had been hiding for more than a year by Interpol. He would then be handed over to the Uganda police on September 15, seated at the back of a police pickup truck. He used a gray sweater to hide his handcuffed wrists and a surgical mask to obscure the lower part of his face. He ought to have been paraded before the public for the murderer that he is. Dr. Mathew Kirabo was sentenced to 30 years in prison for the murder of his girlfriend, Desire Mirembe. Justice delayed is not justice denied after all. Musoki Manuel, Desire's father, can rest after finding closure, but life will never be the same again. She was the life of their home, and even seeing her bedroom every day sends shivers down my spine, he said. He said he hopes to move to a new house because their home holds so many memories of her and it's haunting just even being there. You know, she would now be a doctor, he said. His flower was plucked just when it was just blossoming. Tell me, what do you think about this case, by the way? Do you think it's okay to go on a date with a man whose love you rejected? I think it's rather chilling because such a man may have anger issues and choose to punish you for rejecting him. Kindly share your thoughts in the comments section below. And if crime series is your kind of thing, don't hesitate to subscribe and share the thrills with your friends who may like the same. Take care and see you next time.